Hi, I'm Cheryl Soleway. Welcome to Rocking the Ages, the Legends series. In these special episodes, I have the unique privilege of sitting down with some of the true legends of the fitness industry. These are the teachers of teachers. These are the pioneers, the people whose ideas have stood the test of time, not because they were trendy, but because they worked. These are the individuals whose work has influenced generations of fitness professionals and through them, millions of lives. Before we begin today's episode, I'd like to tell you why these conversations are a little different. Rocking the Ages isn't a fitness show. It's a show about aging well. But throughout my 45 years in the fitness industry, I've had the privilege of learning from some of the greatest minds our profession has ever known. Long before social media and long before fitness became an industry, long before everyone had an opinion, these people were doing the work. They were testing the ideas and they were changing lives. These Legends series conversations are an opportunity to learn from the men and women whose wisdom has shaped generations of fitness professionals, including me. This is Rocking the Ages, the Legends series. Let's get started. Hey people, hey, welcome back. Surely you didn't think that Pete and I would just be able to get everything spoken in a single episode. So welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit more here with Pete Twist. Pete, I want to draw you back into when you were talking about, navigating through long flights that you've been around the world so many times, but that mentality of saying, I'm going to make this work for me. I have also watched you from time to time post what you know about gut health. And gut health in my 7 keys to active aging or just living through every period in life is so important. I think when we were first in the fitness industry, it was a piece of the puzzle maybe that we weren't quite as connected to, that we caught on to more and more as the years went on. I think in the 80s, we were still like eating muffins and bagels and thinking that was diet food, right? So can you share a little bit about that? What's your perspective at 62 on the importance of gut health?
Oh, 100%. Well, number one, and people say, gut instinct and
Yes,
right and intuition. And I think a lot of that is our gut brain and that
exactly.
valgus nerve and communicating with the brain and
Yep,
body. And
yep,
number one, to realize everything in the body is connected. And so the body shares information, which would come from your food in part, right? And we have a system of like sensors, receptors that measure our movement and give feedback. But we're talking about the gut and coming in with the right kind of foods. And food is information.
yep.
And, we can have a food that's this size and a food's this size. And this one maybe is nutrient lean. It doesn't offer me much. Maybe there's a lot of sugars or chemicals that we don't want that affect our body poorly. This one is nutrient dense with a high level of nutrients, with a wide spectrum of nutrients, same number of calories. Maybe this has less. I don't think about food in terms of weight loss. I don't
Good.
use the word dieting. I use the word food program.
Right?
But when we look at food and the term epigenetics, which is essentially what we eat and the food is information, it becomes code, like we're writing the software for our body's hard drive. And that can either dial down genetics, DNA that we hope doesn't come to life in our body, or it can switch on more favorable parts of our DNA.
Exactly.
And so you're always kind of codifying your body based on the food that you eat.
Yep.
And that is part of your gut health that
So
affects
let's
more of
get
the body.
specific. What does Pete Twist believe in as far as, what are your favorite must-do foods or your avoid these? What does Pete Twist believe in?
I believe in enjoying life. How's that?
Yeah.
And that food is for us to gather around a table and break bread, or it's to eat appreciatively and gratefully for the earth and soil that amazingly grows our food and the people who grew it and delivered it. I give thanks for that. I believe in being present with our food. Mostly, I believe in enjoying life and enjoying food as the social fabric of breaking bread at that time. So no screens, eating slowly.
But
And
have
with
you
this,
changed your diet? Like, are there foods that 35 years ago when we were
oh,
starting out that you believed, yeah, that's okay? Have you made choices as you've aged that you believe have been really smarter choices?
100%. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'm smart yet, but I'm working at it.
We're
You know,
getting them
maybe
there.
when I'm in my 90s, I might have some
We'll
semblance
do
of
another
that. Yeah.
episode when you believe that.
But to make, well, because we're talking about food, here's a emphasis to make it palatable for your viewers, is that I'm not uptight about foods. I'm not strict about foods.
Okay.
And, you know, don't worry about if you want to have a couple beers, if you want to have a pizza, that's not the issue.
Okay.
It's the issue is what do you do most of the time?
Okay.
Right? So if it's 80, 90%, are you eating foods as healthy inputs that advantage you? The other 10 or 20%, who cares?
Right.
Just go enjoy it. Like having
Yes.
a type of food once a week or once every 2 weeks that's terrible for you, but it gives you emotional comfort
Yeah.
or joy, or your taste buds are fired up,
Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
that's not going to affect you
No.
poorly.
Right.
If you had that food 4 times a week and it became a staple. So my main thing is, what are your staples? And my progression has gone from, I think I used to lecture on nutrition and sport nutrition, and that was taught to me by dietitians who
Right.
learn, good information, great
Yeah.
information, and what to eat, when to
Right.
eat before sporting events, how to get energy,
But you know, Pete,
how to
that changed
recover.
too. Remember, it was all about
Sure.
pasta the night before
Yeah,
for hockey
yeah.
players 30 years ago. And,
That's right. That's
you know,
right.
we've changed.
But sometimes when you personalize things, it affects how you look into them professionally. And when I had a couple health wrinkles myself, it made me curious about our food supply system. And so I started kind of like your car, you lift up the hood and look at the engine.
There we go.
And so I lifted up the hood of our food supply system and took a look, and oh my God, it was atrocious.
Okay.
And so, if people are, I commend you. I'm not vegan or fully vegetarian.
I wanted to ask
do,
that,
I
so-
do eat meat, but I try not to eat factory farm meat.
Okay.
One, set ethics aside and how you feel about animals. Factory farm meat is from the day that animal is born to the day it's harvested, the animals are tortured.
Yeah.
And they're drugged. So we're essentially eating the stress response and sickness. We're eating sick, tortured animals.
Yeah.
It's just a bad system
Yeah.
that, in most part, there are smaller local farms
Yeah.
and people doing
Yeah.
great things. This is like the mainstream part.
Exactly.
And so there, I was like, okay, well, why is everybody angry all around the world? Well, they're eating stressed out, tortured animals and all the hormone and stress response and the drugs and so on. And then what are humans doing? There's your food and the nutrient quality of it, but then there's what are humans adding to that, right? The pesticides, the herbicides, the things that make it look pretty on the shelf, the things that preserve it longer. And is that still okay for us, right? And so certainly it's as core values around holistic nutrition, most often when it's accessible, when we can afford it, when it's at our fingertips, when it's in our community, and we can access, here's a real, whole, organic, healthy, nutrient-dense food. And I try and eat with single ingredient foods. And so that would be, I remember I posted once on social media, and it was, I think my youngest daughter was kicking butt at a track meet. I pulled my other daughter out of school to cheer her. She's sitting there doing homework. And I'm the single dad who brought the food.
Yeah.
I'm not a great chef. And it's like, I don't know, people say that eating healthy is complicated. And I'm holding an apple. And it's like, I hope I got this recipe right. And so sometimes you can just eat single ingredients, or your meal is these 7 single ingredients and you mix them together.
Okay.
Right? So it's still all in the single ingredient
Right.
healthy
Right.
foods, which really simplifies everything.
No kidding,
right?
Pete.
So it's from at the time, a single parent and not a great chef, it was the most simplistic way to prepare
Okay.
food and nourishment and meals.
Yeah.
And it's delicious until we get away from it and eat a whole bunch of crap. And the more of whatever we eat, the more we desire.
Yeah.
It's how the brain
Isn't
and
that the
body
truth?
work,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, and
Your habits are creating whatever these cravings are. If you habitually eat really healthy and clean food, guess what? You're going to crave really healthy and clean food.
That's right. That's right. If you remove sugar from your diet, even for 2 weeks,
Exactly.
and then you just have a simple bowl of blueberries, you'll be like, oh my God, this is the sweetest dessert I've ever had in my life,
Exactly.
right? But
Exactly.
we lose appreciation for the deliciousness of nutrition because we have this over here.
Yeah.
Instead, we go to,
Peter, I'm not going to lie. I kind of thought that you may be overly, almost over the top with your diet because, folks, I wasn't sure that we were going to go here, but I'm going to go here. I do want to explain to our audience, Pete, that you were dealt a very tough period, a tough season in your hand. You were diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer. Is that right?
I received the diagnosis of stage 4 nasopharyngeal cancer. It's head neck. It's basically the base of my brain stem, my face, my throat, my chest, my ear.
Talk to me a little bit about, yes, once you were diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, you began the battle, you successfully got through it, but you did talk afterwards about how your fitness level from the get-go certainly gave you some of the armor that you needed
Oh,
to
absolutely.
fight this challenge. Talk me through what what you went through. Let's just go there.
Yeah, no, and I'm pleased to share this because I've learned, when you personalize your challenges, it generalizes to everyone. And so if you're listening to this, it may not be cancer, it may be another illness, it may be a challenge, some kind of loss, grieving, a business challenge, finance. Challenges are challenges.
Challenges are
Difficulties are
challenges.
difficulties. A lot of the same keys to success apply to everything. And I'll share my story, but my story in many ways is not special because we all have challenges and difficulties. So I share this collaboratively for everyone.
Sir Pete, with how old were you?
I was 48.
48.
Yes.
48.
Two things at 48. I started to, and this is really important. I do train, I move, I do sports. So I'm kind of we say the language of movement is written in feel. If you want to understand how you're moving, feel. And does it feel good? Do you feel pain, right? Do you feel flow? Do you feel control? Where do you feel muscle tension that you're trying to build to get stronger? And so we're, as people who move, train, athletes, dancers, they're more in tune to their body. They're body
Definitely.
aware.
Definitely.
And the body speaks if we listen, for everybody. And for 5 years, this is at a time, mind you, from 43 to 48, let's say, I had the most muscle mass of my life, although that's going to be in front of me. I'm going to get after it. And I was happy with where I lived, my kids, my relationship, my business. Like everything seemed like a 10 out of 10. I actually just went snowshoeing on New Year's Eve day with families and talking to friends about that. Like just for this moment in time, everything feels like a 10 out of 10. I feel great.
You're in the
I have
second period.
endless energy.
Yeah.
I feel the best I ever have in my life, and things are rocking. And it was just a few weeks after that, I got diagnosed. But for the 5 years preceding that, and I emphasize how great I felt because I still occasionally, when we're talking in an earlier conversation about gut health and our gut brain and intuition, my body was speaking to me, suggesting that I have cancer. I didn't have any symptoms other than this nagging small voice that I think I have cancer.
Something's off.
Right? And there was no major symptom. And I would get that 2 or 3 times a year. I'd go in and see doctors and they'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Of course, I'm walking in. I'm not presenting like a patient dragging his butt in complaining. And they're like, "How are you doing?" "Oh, I feel great." This and that. And it's like, by the way, I think I have cancer. And as time went, I started to get more serious at that.
Wow.
But I kept getting denied and I got turned away. And so it's important to know that if you sincerely, seriously feel you have something wrong with your body, look up the symptoms and say those symptoms when you see your doctor, because if you don't, they're not going to look at you. If you happen to be at a stage in your life where you're fit, lean, strong, whatever, your doctors are biased based on your appearance.
Yeah.
We all are,
Yeah.
right? Et cetera, et cetera. So I got misdiagnosed for 5 years.
Did you, Pete? Wow, I did not know this.
And when they would say, no, like you're fitter than a 20-year-old
of course
athlete,
they'd
like
say
go
that. Look at
enjoy
you.
your life.
Yeah, look at you.
To my accountability and mistake, I liked what they said.
Right.
And so I went away for a bit, but I kept coming back. At the time I was diagnosed, I finally went in, and the cancer that I had stage 4 head and neck cancer. It was stage 4 after 5 years. They could have caught it earlier, softer treatment, more success. The primary tumor was the size of a baseball,
Pete.
lodged in my neck, and I had other tumors in my face, brainstem, chest, and ears. And the when I went in to see a family doctor, they can't see. You can't see inside the body. You have your skin covering, right? So no one's 100% accurate. But I did have this was the first symptom. I was losing hearing in my ear, and I had a lump here. The doctor felt it and said, there's no way you have cancer, and prescribed, of course, antibiotics to deal with an infection that had the lump in this area of my lymph system in my neck. I actually left and went out to my car, and it had started snowing. I had some kind of SUV then. And
You're having a visual right now.
I'm a very spiritual person.
Yeah.
But I'm not in a structured religion per se.
Okay, right.
So even with that, I'm more over here, in some woo-woo spiritualism, meditating in the forest.
Yeah.
But I went out and I saw on the hood of my truck in the fresh snow was the shape of 2 giant crosses. And I was
I get shivers.
smart enough to take a picture of it.
Oh my goodness.
And that could be from the timing of the snow with the heat of the engine, with cross bridges under the, there may be some logical thing there, but I've never noticed that before with this truck. I'd had it a while, and it was just a symbol that made me stop in my tracks. I was going to leave. I was denied again for 5 years. Again, now I have this lump here. I'm being denied. I've got a prescription for antibiotics. I see the 2 giant crosses, my whole hood. And my own words, honestly, I stopped in my tracks and said, there is a higher energy, there is a God, there is something that's looking at me going like, look, dumbass, we've been giving you small hints and subtle information, and you're not pushing through that final door.
Yeah.
Here's something
Dumbass.
that even you will notice.
Hey.
And I walked right back in to the doctor's office. I interrupted the patient that he was with, and I wasn't physical, but I did grab his jacket and said, this is something more. I need an appointment now to look at this.
Wow.
I was not going to leave. I said, I will not leave until I can get this looked at. I got an appointment with an ear, nose, and throat specialist the next day. Took that doctor. They put a scope down this nostril, and they said, no, this side. They said, oh, we can't get through. It's blocked. And then this side, it took 45 seconds, and he just said, look, I've been doing this for a long time. You have cancer. There's a big tumor. It's been so big, it's been there a long time. We'll need to go get a biopsy and stuff. And it was the last time I used humor, probably for 2 years. And I said, thanks for sugarcoating that for me. But I was grateful to get, I have information.
Yeah.
And then I went, and I share that to urge you, if you have a sense for your health, you have to be an advocate for your health. You have to quarterback the process. You have to take the lead. Otherwise, it's going to be a slow process. You're going to be in the back seat, and you're going to get sent down all kinds of erroneous paths. But at that stage at 48 and tying it right, succinctly right into your comment about where I was at, I happened to be fortunately at that age
Pinnacle of
at
your
the
fitness,
pinnacle of my
eh?
health, my fitness, my
Right.
strength, and I
Yeah.
was used to pushing hard and
Yeah.
training
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. The mental capacity.
Yeah, and so when I went in for my first oncologist, that's the doctor who specializes in cancer, and I'm so grateful for all medicine and doctors in
Hmm.
we don't have a health, I'll get on that quickly, but we don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system, and I'm grateful for it. When you need surgery or pharmacology or some type of a treatment, hospitals are built for triage, not for health. If you stay in a hospital too long, you're going to come out less healthy. Your healthcare is you and specialists that you may align with you to go from poor to good and good to great and stay upstream from illness and heal from illness. Hospitals and doctors are built around triage and acute needs, saving our life when we're in a pickle, when our backs are against the wall.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for it, but I know what it is and what it isn't in that side. When I sat down with my oncologist, within 5 minutes, they started talking to me about palliative care. We're not going to do treatments. It's too late. I'm
Holy
like, well, I've been
smokes,
knocking on the
Pete.
door for 5 years.
Right.
It doesn't need to be too late,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But when they said that, I stayed to finish that meeting. I was grateful to have it. I stayed to the end to be respectful, to not be disrespectful. But as soon as he said that, I already thought, you're not smart enough to be
You're
my
not my guy.
oncologist.
No, you're
You
not my
don't
guy.
know me. And at least like, let's take a kick at the can. Like I want to go for it. Right. So if you don't believe in my potential to heal and get past battle this, then you can't be my doctor, like making the game plan. I need someone. So I actually interviewed, I talked to oncologists till someone would look at my case and go, like it might be a tiny chance, but
Right.
and as soon as one doctor said, there is a chance, oh,
Really, Pete?
that's all I needed. Like,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
if say you have a 1 out of 100 chance, let's make it, less daunting. Let's say 1 out of 10. So you have a 10% chance. Well, that means, there's kind of, we're sitting down here enjoying, connecting and sharing this with you. There's 10 seats and there's only one good seat. Do you have a 10% chance to get that? Well, by probability theory, yes, but by health and fitness, if you get a little healthier, if you get a little healthier, if you get a little fitter, if you get a little stronger, if you get your mindset used to that. So I looked at the
Hey, I
stats
like that.
going, well, who are the other 9 people vying for this good seat? Well, there's someone who's obese, there's someone who's a smoker, there's someone who has a negative attitude, there's someone who won't exercise, there's someone who eats poorly. There's someone, right? So it's like, I have as close to 100% chance of earning this one seat
You
as
sure do.
anyone. So I just refabricated my odds in my mind
Yeah.
and went for it and tried to do everything I could to advantage myself for success. But what happened was I happened to be up here when I was finally diagnosed and chemo, radiation, and back then the treatments were more barbaric. They were
Hey,
more
Pete.
general. They were more intense. So you're just getting
Talking like
everything.
16 years ago.
I was burnt up from the inside out. I lost all my muscle mass. I had brain damage. Like I can't even think and talk. If we were talking, I would need to write words down and try and read them to
Wow.
be able to form a sentence.
Yeah.
I'm starting from there. That's how you're sent out of the hospital. They took care of the tumors,
Yeah.
thankfully. I'm here because of them. Every time I do something cool and fun like this with great humans like you, I'm thanking my oncologists. They helped me be here, but I still would not have lived if I didn't. I entered the hospital here and I
Like you
left
say,
here.
at the pinnacle. Pete, the direction and what you're teaching all of us about this is catching me a little bit by surprise, but I love the premise here and the way you are explaining the fact that, where you were at, this pinnacle of your fitness. Carry on with that. Can you describe to me more what you meant by that?
Going in here versus here.
And I'm going to say too, you were mental, physical. I knew you at that age.
Yeah,
It was
so
a big picture of pinnacle.
muscle, which is an organ of health and an organ of strength and body mass, the mindset to be there.
Yeah.
All of the training that I did, my cardiovascular health, everything, the grit that you practice to train there and so on.
Yeah.
But physically and health and mindset. And to be clear, I didn't crush cancer. Right? I did not crush cancer. I won by a thread.
Really, Pete.
And for all your goals in life, no one has to crush things. You just need to win by a thread.
Yeah.
You need to still be standing when no one else is.
Yeah.
You look at running races and so on. Someone might win the race by this much.
Yeah.
By a centimeter.
How about Roger
right?
Federer talking about in the world of tennis that Roger Federer wins because he's got 52%, right?
That's
or 51%.
Right. Great.
And the margins.
Yes.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah, so with cancer and radiation and chemo in my era, it was very barbaric and more intense. Plus, I was late stage 4, so I even said, like, I'm strong. If you don't do stuff and you don't do enough, I'm going to die. I said to my oncology team, there was 3 of them, I said, you can throw the bombs in. I know you can only do certain things legally and ethically, but to the degree you're willing to push the boundaries, throw the bombs in and I'll try and endure it.
Wow.
And so when I started up here, and let's say the tumors are here and there's chemo and radiation, which are the biggest adversaries to stay alive from, we did this. And being up here gave me more room to fall.
Oh, boy, that's
and
well
so I was
said.
just deteriorated and degraded and falling, but it gave me enough height, enough space and time to still be here
to land
barely
on your feet
when all this was done.
Yeah.
Right? And so this buffer gave me the capacity and the resiliency and the physical structure to deteriorate down and still be here. But if I came in half-assed and I'm down here,
I don't think we'd be having this conversation.
Zero chance.
It's an amazing story, Pete, an absolutely amazing story. And I think, too, so applicable to, those of us now navigating this third period in our lives. Like you alluded to right from the beginning that, whether this be cancer, whether this be anything to do with navigating health issues that are going to come. You guys, again, we talk about, especially in the third period, your strategies need to change, shifts are going to change. You're going to, players get injured. What strategies you have? And everything you just alluded to is just applicable to life. And then, like you're saying, that process to at least get yourself, it doesn't have to be way up here, but the process, the time you're putting in to set yourself up for anything. It's just so smart and healthy and positive. I'm curious, Pete, now that we've gone here, because I wasn't sure we were going to go here, how did this change Pete the person, would you say? Can you describe that? How has this changed you going forward?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And one of my favorite philosophies is to always be in the process of becoming.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, you're a very impactful, inspiring person. So our conversation helps shape who I am going forward. We can be, so it's very important who the people we spend time with, the places we spend time with, because we're affected by that. And to always be in the process of becoming. I don't want to be the same person 5 years from now that I am today, right? And it's being open and expansive in that from this. This is so good. Albert Einstein, symbol, shine, props. In the middle of difficulty lay opportunity.
Right.
And so when I'm getting totally kicked and destroyed by cancer and then working my way back, the key from that experience is what's the opportunity?
Okay.
There's opportunity in every difficulty, and most businesses that are successful have brought solutions that people need. We're sharing some things that people in the second and third period in their late, other next chapter of life, wherever you're at, these things help set you up to do well.
Yeah.
And so that these are solutions, opportunities to difficulties you may be feeling. What has changed in myself, and I was always, enthusiastic,
Yes,
and
you have.
hopefully I came across as positive
Oh,
and
boy.
energized,
Yeah.
and the slogans you talked about, our
Exactly.
mantras to give energy and
Yeah.
be kind and so on. And I cared about people and I took care of people, but I don't think I had enough empathy because I just felt great.
Yeah.
I just felt great. And so I did care, I was sincere, I did support, but my level of empathy for people and relatability for them
Yeah.
improves. So this happens with people when they need it the most. And that this has really opened so many amazing connections around the world with people that touch base. And they can relate to me now, and I can empathize with their situation. Number two, with that positivity was also like I'm putting my head down and going for it, and it's like hard work and intense and grit. But from this experience, then it's like we also need grace, and we need to have perseverance and go for it. But we need peacefulness. We need to be kind on ourselves and our body. And really from a high performance, and this is for my athletes, but it's so applicable for healthy, active, positive aging, is sustainability. So I come from a high performance background. I don't even believe in high performance anymore. Maybe in the Olympics where you're in one event every 4 years as
different
the
crowd
best of the
altogether.
best.
Yeah.
Pro athletes in,
Oh, my goodness.
say basketball, hockey,
Yeah.
things like that,
Yeah.
that play 2 or 3 times a week, they're never at their best because you can't be at your best 7 days a week to that degree of their output. We can try and be at our best. Like I'm going to show up and be kind, treat people with respect and dignity. I can nail that 99% of the time. I might make a mistake and show up poorly and want that moment back, but I learn from that and I come back in better. But for athletes that are like 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, it's about sustainable high performance. That's a lot different. You make different decisions in how you live. And then if we're talking 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, so there's time. That means there's times to, put a little bit more effort in because you need a certain intensity or effort to stimulate good adaptations. But there's also through the week, we need some soft time. We need some peaceful time.
Well, you mentioned
right?
it's being kinder to yourself.
Being kind on yourself.
Right. That there just is a time in all of our lives, and those of us that were very involved in the fitness industry, where the lights came on, where it became, not only do I want to be kinder to myself, it makes so much sense.
Yes.
And, another side of you, Pete, that we don't get to see each other very often. In fact, at least I'm going to say 15 years.
We're going to change that though, right?
I think we did see each other at the IDEA conference in 2016.
Yeah.
Because I did bring my youngest son, Jed, which was
That's
really
right.
fun.
That's right. I remember that.
And you were doing
that
your
was amazing.
outdoor training on the big ships. Remember?
We're on the aircraft carrier. That was a real honor to be out there.
That was extremely cool. But I don't get to see Pete very often. And we are going to change that. But Pete, from an outsider looking in, what I have loved about watching how little you post now, we all wish you post every single day. I think I talked in the intro about we all want to be seen and heard by Peter, see and hear him, and you've pulled back. But there's been a change, a gentleness in your spirit, your love of the outdoors, your rescue dogs, there's something. We're going to get Pete to share some of those videos with us. But so that came from somewhere, Pete. So did that come from this, the beating cancer? Did it come from just getting older? Because I know myself too, Pete. My ego for years was, I have the toughest classes. And people would come out of my spin classes or going, I hurt for days. And I thought that was a good thing. I'm really proud of myself. Now I want to smack myself upside the head to think that should ever enter the conversation. So I want to go there with you, Pete. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? Because you are immersed in nature, from what I can tell. You're alone more, and I got to say, so am I. I'm really valuing the gas in my gas tank.
Yeah.
I like my alone time, too much maybe, when you talked about empathy. I'm going to share this on, I think I've shared it in 3 episodes, so forgive me for this. But when I did my strength finders, your 34 strengths, empathy was 33 out of 34 on the scale in me. I was that low with empathy. And I tried to be a physiotherapist for 17 years. Like, there was not a good connection between my empathy. But we can always grow and change. Tell me who Pete Twist is today.
Yeah, and to clarify that, and I was sort of the same way with empathy. But to clarify, I was very caring.
Yeah.
I was very sincere in all of my businesses and career work, helping people overcome, helping people do well, helping people aspire, reach their highest, loftiest aspirations.
Yes.
So I'm clearly behind them, and I care and support and cheer for them. But it was a level of empathy that's understanding. That's say, I've been there, I've done that, I know what you're going through.
Right.
Just instead of just cognitively knowing. And then it makes people also, we're more vulnerable because we got the crap beat out of us. So with aging, we might reach an age where we're honoring ourselves better, probably up in time until about 10 years ago. So most of my life, I like any invitation, anything, I couldn't say no to anything, you know, and I wasn't fearful of missing out. I just don't want to let people down. So I show up early, I stay late, and most things are so awesome with great people. I'm actually always glad. I'm really glad I went to that. You know, but you know how people are. If you invite people over and they're not going to be able to come, or they don't want to come, or they want to come but just not on that day, you know, they might come up with excuses or reasons, and so I really started to feel good with the freedom of just being open and honoring myself, as I encourage your viewers to honor them. Meaning, if you and Jay invited me over, and even if I've been looking forward to that for weeks, come the day, if it's like I just need to go into the forest and replenish. I would just let you know. And if there was another opportunity that I got invited into, I would just say, no, thank you. Thank you very much for thinking of me, but no thanks. I wouldn't feel a need, the burden of an excuse or a reason or to justify. It's the freedom of being kind to other people, respecting them, but I don't have to explain my way all through life. I'm just going to honor myself. So I urge your viewers, one, to be kind on yourself, because wherever you're at, number one, be kind and believe in yourself, because wherever you're at, whatever you've been through, you're here. So you proved you made it through. Right. Now you know you can make it through really tough stuff. You can do hard stuff.
You can do
and you're
hard
still
things.
here.
Yep.
So whatever comes up in your future, when it hits and lands, you're like, I know how to do that. I know how to go through hard stuff. I've proved that. So you can believe in yourself. And wherever you're at, if you think like you should be further, you should be higher, you know, you've had loss, setbacks, be kind on yourself, because look at all you've had to get through and do in life to be here. Be kind on yourself in that side. And I like the philosophy of you're right on time, because this is your life story. This is your life movie. So you're right on time. This is where you are, and your life story's brought you to here. And it could have gone in many other different directions, but this is it. And I'm right on time. And so like today, we're all right on time. We're all right where our life story took us. And then what do we do? Where do we go from here? That's where we try and write that next chapter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pete, do you feel yourself making a conscious decision to unplug? I think you're getting it more than some of the many people I see in the value you are getting from being out in nature. It's concerning me how much we are plugged in.
Yeah. I'm still plugged in.
Oh yeah, me too.
Probably too much than a human would do best with. But some of it I enjoy, some of it I benefit, some's necessity, some of it will be habitual.
But like for instance, Pete, you're not Pete in the gym every day anymore, are you? What's Pete's fitness plan? Because I've seen some some running in the forest.
Well, I do spend a lot of my time in the rain here in Vancouver on the Pacific Northwest. We have forest, but it's known as rainforest. It does rain a lot, which means you get all lush ferns and moss and fungi.
Hey.
It's known and well researched, a stack of research this deep. It's the healthiest oxygen on the planet. It's high vibration, which sounds woo-woo.
No, it doesn't.
And hippie. And hopefully it is, because I like that. But it's science. It's hardcore Western science, medicine based. That we don't even have to be in the forest and moving through it to gain benefits from a health and brain standpoint. We just have to be near it. It's so powerful. And then sometimes I go into the forest and mountains and I hike up the steeps and I race down, and it's super intense and
Not
athletic.
sometimes, Pete. Like you're very committed. You're very
Yeah,
consistent.
but other times I go in and I do a walk.
Okay.
On a flatter trail. It's always undulated roots and rocks, so you're getting balance and strength.
Okay.
But I go in also just to peace out,
Yeah.
meditate. And here's the cool thing, and you asked me earlier, like, where I am. Certainly, cancer and strokes and business and life and age, all things come together. Yeah, I'm living more soulfully, more spiritually. I want to be motivated, inspired, and go for things, but I also want to peace out and have that side. So some of my path is solo by choice with the rescued husky wolf dog I have at the time.
You'll see videos of this, I promise.
Other time is with my partner, and we go out, and that's where we have fun and communicate and adventure and peace and communicate. Sometimes with my kids, occasionally with friends. So it's all different dynamics, and they're all different. But this is the cool part. I have, and I say this because at one point I had 12 sport training centers. After my health wrinkle that I had to iron out, I added functional medicine and physio and massage and Ayurvedic botanical medicine, things like that. This stage, I don't have those, and that's since we know we had a few years ago the government shut all that stuff down. So that people could buy cigarettes and alcohol in McDonald's during COVID.
Hello.
But that's it. So we feel that in our heart because we thought we were part of the solution that people needed. But here we are, and by choice now, I do have a select number of clients that I see one-on-one.
Okay.
And I have some athletes and other clients who fly in to work with me for a bit. Then they go home to Norway, Italy, back down to the States, all over the place. But I have some local people. The only clients that I take on right now are either they're in a tough spot, right? I have some clients that were palliative. So Western hospitals that you're palliative, like they're going to wind them down. I had an individual that came off 2 brain surgeries, wasn't expected to live. Had to relearn to walk and move, talk, lost vision in one eye, and so on. So for my motivation and passion, I had helped a number of people get college scholarships and gold medals, and I'm honored for that. But I really wanted to, this connects empathy and tying in our past challenges. I know how to go from your worst to your best. I know how to go from survive to thrive. And I'm willing, and I know that process, what helps people out. Now, not everyone can survive, but if someone survives, everybody can thrive. And there are things we can do to advantage our survival. So I took people on who were told they were palliative. Now that's a couple years later. It's not a quick fix. It's a couple years later. They're all still here and they're all thriving. They're all their best, not just doing well or back to where they were. They've exceeded who they were. They're doing amazing. And 95% of the sessions that I use as my therapy clinic, my training center, I do mental well-being mindset. Instead of sitting and talking, we move and walk and talk.
Thank you.
95% of it was in the rainforest. And I mean in rain, snow, hail, sun, beautiful days, because they need everything that advantages them, the power of that. So just like you would going to a medical clinic doing therapy, except that the methods looked different. But instead of carpet, paint, plastic, rubber, indoor air, and so on, we had ferns, moss, trees, running water through canyons. You just make that one substitution and put the other in, you're adding in. Now that's not going to do it on its own.
Right.
But we want everything advantaging this person.
Exactly.
Everything, right? And so now there's going to be 20, 30, 40 things that are part of their program. Everything to some degree helps them out a bit more. You put it all together.
100%.
Everybody's here. Everybody's doing well.
100%.
And it's
Pete.
yeah, it's been a huge honor, and
Pete, this is such a deep conversation, a deep topic. I could see how emotional it was making you feel. And, when you suggest that it's too bad doctors, I just don't feel that they can ever get the kind of training that somebody like you or, people, us in the fitness industry ever can get. We're exposed to such a broad spectrum of people with such great ideas. I think, is there anybody like you? Is anybody else doing this?
Well, there's lots of people doing great stuff.
Yeah.
And there's lots of smart people doing excellent work. As far as I know and I'm told, it's the most integrated, where we have fitness and sport performance and functional medicine and mental health and mindset, mental health therapy, mindset, rehabilitation, healing right to your cellular terrain, and the brain and fascia connection. It's your nutritional part, etc. So it's everything. And the cool thing is, the more specialties the more you can bring them in, not only as slices of the pie to contribute, but you can have them synchronize and they start to help each other. Right, and it all becomes synchronized, and that's, I think, where there's great benefits. And I'm a big fan of Western doctors. I'm very appreciative because at some point, even if they just provide an antibiotic for someone's child, they're helping them live. They're helping us get past pain.
We're not making light of anything.
Right, but hospitals are more triage, and Western doctors in our Canadian system have 10 or 15 minutes. What are you going to do with that? And, it's heavily pharmaceutical indicated. Well, sometimes that's what we need today just to get rid of pain or do better.
Right.
But this is sick care, and over here is your health care on that side. And pointedly, the doctors who have graduated med school in North America, who I respect and appreciate and I'm grateful for, on average, they receive less than 2 hours in all of their academic training of education on exercise as medicine and nutrition as medicine. And there's a lot more things they could be involving. So they don't have expertise in that area unless they've personally gone out and added to their education, right? So doctors aren't the person for health. They're the person for sickness. And if you can get that down, where here's your sickness team, and then here's your health care, and here's your sustainable long-term through the decades way to do well. And if you're doing poorly, how can you do well? If you're doing good, how can you do great? If you're doing great, can you do excellent? Yeah. And just to stay on that track. But it's a lot of other resources.
And again, pulling from the pool that we have that's so rich, Peter. We look at yourself, the Sue Hitzmans, the Helen Vanderbergs, that we have been in this industry with passion for 45 years or more. So let's hope that we still use the next decades or 2 or 3 for programming like this to keep elevating what we can bring to the table. Pete, I had no idea that you were doing this. This blows my mind. And I want to hear so much more about what you're taking this. But again, folks, I run out of time all the time with my guests. And I still have to get Pete to go down one more avenue, Pete. And it's that I have been talking with a plethora of typical female guests.
Yes.
And, women, we're really good, I think, about being proactive And we tend to, not only just be proactive, but take action. Pete, I want you from the male perspective to talk to me a little bit about, what should men in their third period of life be concerned about as far as health, wellness, fitness. Help me understand what you think men might need to hear from a man with experience.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I will, I will clarify with women and with men. Women, as young girls start maturing and growth and development as well ahead of boys, and we never catch up. You're always ahead, and so
Yeah. It's true.
and the team of female leaders who are forward thinkers and expert at what they do. You might be the most connected person in the world with all great minds, and you bringing them together for Rocking the Ages
I'm going to keep
is
trying
unreal,
that. Thanks,
right?
Pete.
But it's exactly what people need to tap into. From the male standpoint, I often see with men who have been into, they've been active, they've been athletes, or they've been fit, or they just they like being physical, they like being strong.
Yeah.
They could have everything wrong with them: their health, their mental well-being, their mindset, their happiness, their peace. They're reactive. They've got joint pain. They've got a gut. They've lost their butt, and your butt's important because your glutes are what on your own. Every time you walk downstairs,
There
it's
you
your
go.
glutes have to fire. Your glutes have to fire. And then they'll be left lifting some 40-pound bicep curls, right? And
Thank you.
so
Yeah.
number one is don't get caught up in just that kind of strength and weight. How well does your whole body move together?
You
Number
started
one,
the
to
whole
focus
program
on
talking about
yeah.
that one of your premises was movement.
Yeah, to move confident, balanced, with control, pain-free, and feel joy in movement. That's the type of strength you want. Second type of strength, your mindset, your attitude, your mental health, your peace, your positivity, your patience, your poise, your grace that you extend people. That's a true strength. Third is your health. And we probably, to some degree, may always put ourselves last and take care of other people, but somewhere in there, is the overused saying is, we need to put our oxygen mask on first, or at least in time. And so it's so much easier to stay upstream from illness than it is to be hit hard by it and battle back. So try and stay upstream from illness by doing a few more healthy things that keep you into the long game.
Where do you think men are making their mistakes? Like, I like that you just referred to, I'm going to get stronger, go in the gym and grab those heavy dumbbells. Where else are men making their mistakes in today's emphasis on how men should be staying fit?
Oh, I think they tend to lack consistency, but when they do jump in and train or exercise or do a sport, they do too much too soon, too intense.
Okay.
And so maybe maybe you're capable of this, but this might be the intensity you need, or maybe this is once or twice a week, but the other days need to be filled in with this intensity, this intensity, this intensity. More is not always better. More intense is not always
Yeah.
better. But nothing or infrequent isn't great either. So it's finding that flow of consistent, active, positive living. That might mean you're in the gym and you're training pretty hard, but it's for 45 minutes instead of an hour and a half. And then the next day you're going for a walk instead of something intense. So we find that rhythm of enough work and intensity to stimulate adaptations, and then also restoration and peace and pause.
And again, less is more. Less is more. Smarter,
more.
not harder. You
Less is
talked
more.
smarter, not harder
Yeah.
years and years ago, Pete.
Yeah.
Right? I think that might have been on your wall even.
Yeah. Well, I did need to learn my lesson, and here's an epiphany I would love to share with the men, as you've asked me to.
Bring it.
Because for a lot of my life, I could just go. I trained hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes I worked 18 hours a day. Lots of decades, there was days of a week where I didn't sleep at all. I'd put my kids to bed. My wife would go to bed. then I would stay up all night and work. I'd go and train, and I found I could do it. I could push
course.
through. I built up a
Right.
tolerance. I could keep an okay attitude. I had the energy, and it was just, I'd say, well, I'll sleep when I'm dead, but then I almost died. And I thought, well, I better rethink that plan.
Better rethink that.
And you know what? I was, as a teacher and a mentor and a coach and providing therapy for people also, I learn from everyone I work with. I can learn something from everyone around the world. Traveling so much, I'd get an Uber, or for a long time it was taxi. And taxis are different because the car's not usually as nice or clean, even though they're the professionals. And often the person driving, let's say, they may not have as deep an education, sometimes. So I would get in, and if I'm in Singapore or China or Australia, wherever, and I would ask the driver questions. One, to be present, show them a bit of respect, be human to human, but I also knew I could learn something from their life path. We can learn something from each other. And I learned this valuable from my student. I had a mentorship. We're in the rainforest. I'm building kind of, positive leaders, giving people the courage to go for what they're passionate about. I think this person ended up writing books and actually moved out of the country and moved to South America. That was her and her partner's goal. So this gave them the courage to go for it and get clarity where they want to go. And so I kind of gave her she knew I was just relentless in that, and your lesson for your men. I was also in going for your goals. I'm a big believer of like jumping in with both feet and hitting the ground running, right? And go for it. No, don't hesitate. And she said two things, Cheryl. She said, would you ever first want to pause to make sure you're jumping in the right direction? And I'm like, well, I can toss out my life philosophy and my mantra there. That's wisdom. And then she was really from her heart, and the whole group there, they wanted to see me rest and restore more.
Thank you.
They knew I was handling it now, but is that going to sneak up on me later?
Exactly.
And they said, so they knew this is for the men, but could be for everyone.
Yeah.
And, we know women are super women if they, they have themselves, they may have careers, businesses, homes, kids, and wow, it's amazing, right? They said, look, you do everything to the extreme and you go full out on everything. What if your rest and restoration, you just did that to the extreme?
Yes.
And you did your restoration full out. And I was almost like a dog that tilts his head, going, you mean I can do this to the extreme? And so meaning, why don't you do this restoration as best you can?
Exactly.
10 out of 10, mastery.
Peter,
fully in, and so I started to geek out. I say that in a positive way. I started to, our science and our when we're into stuff, we're geeking out on it in a positive way. I started to really get into rest and restoration, and I'm going to excel at restoration.
Right.
I'm not taking a softer way from all these other things we excel. This is not only a piece of the puzzle, but if we're going to do it, and we only get benefits if we do it pretty good. Right? Laying on the couch watching Netflix is not restoration. It might be a nice, easy time to enjoy, but it's not part of my restoration. And so I was like, I'm going to restore to the extreme. And I share that with men that like strength and power and to come through for people and perform and go full out. And I'll ask you to consider resting and restoring to the extreme.
I'm going to say, because along that line, what I'm trying to get you to say is that, I get frustrated. The physical therapist got frustrated with, still stretching. Why can I find women will embrace stretching? Like when you talk your 10 out of 10 or 9 people out of 10, I can get 7 or 8 women out of 10 to stretch on a daily basis. Why am I having so much trouble convincing men to learn to love stretching? Okay,
I will give that to you then.
Thank you.
Because I have a recent experience with a gentleman who's in his 60s and is wildly strong. super fit. And and he's had some health things that we've worked through,
Yes.
and he's rocking. But stretching is part of what he needed. And we went with the goal, and we say the language of movement, written and feel, of
Yes.
feeling strong and light. His goal is to move around feeling strong and light. His mind and heart to feel strong and lighter. It feels good to have a light heart, a
Right.
light mind, a light body.
Yeah.
Stretching was part of that. I gave him the persona, his personal identity. Men will stretch if it's part of your personal identity, and your personal identity is to be a peaceful warrior. You're still a warrior, but there's a peaceful part. Stretching is the
Okay.
time for that. And third, we think like, yeah, I do these stretches. A lot of men don't stay with stretches because they want to get to their workout, their training.
Yes.
So it's adopting. You still have all parts of your training with, strength and conditioning and things like that. But stretching is it is your workout. And so we use the word like Qigong, Tai Chi, sport athletes, it's your practice.
Yes.
Right? And so if it's 20 minutes of stretching or what you would prescribe, this is not stretching before your workout. This is a fundamental part of your practice. And just to get into it mentally and give yourself time, once you do it enough time and you feel yourself opening and feel the benefits, you'll never go back. But it's their personal identity as a peaceful warrior. It's seeing the stretching as a workout, as their practice. And they are almost like a samurai who are going down and they're doing their practice.
I'm going to
right? And oh wow, you get great buy-in.
Pete, I've got another half of this program that's called Make It a Habit. And the idea of Make It a Habit is that before you even get out of bed in the morning, make it a habit as you're in bed to just go through your breathing techniques and breathing exercises. Begin to stretch while you're in bed.
Yeah.
I like the samurai idea. I think that's good advice. I'm getting you to help me how to talk to men better. And, but the idea that a samurai too isn't a samurai for an hour of a day. A samurai is a samurai for 24 hours.
24/7.
Okay.
Yep.
So can we build on this language and be saying that, because gentlemen, I don't want you waiting to go to the gym. I don't want you waiting. I want you basically finding reasons throughout your entire day, from literally the very first doorway that you go through in the morning, as you're on your way to the coffee maker, put your arms on either side of the doorway and stretch. Or with Helen, we talked about, a simple sun salutation, that movement of going forward, bending your toes, get down to the ground, press yourself up. But Pete, I love it. You've just given me one good way of finding the verbiage and finding the language to make it more appealing to men, because I'm finding they're still lagging behind in how my techniques of speaking to them. That was a good tip.
Yeah, and if I may, a couple things, and thank you, because no, it's a generalization. Of course, there's differences in individuals, but in generally, women tend to be more flexible than men. And when you start stretching as a male, it doesn't feel good.
Exactly.
It's uncomfortable. Can't even get into position. So part of it, like if women are doing stretching on the floor, I might have something raised I'm sitting on or a bench. I find using different levels helps me hang body parts off and get into more comfortable stretching. But it's harder to get into and stretch because number one, it doesn't feel good. On that side. And number two, what you were talking about, using your day's moments, there's 168 hours in every week. So if someone goes to the gym, anybody goes to the gym 3 hours a week, there's no way that's taking care of the 165, right? You're not going to be healthy and fit for life just by relying on what you can do in a small amount of time in the gym.
Exactly.
The magic is what you do in the 165.
Exactly.
When you're not in the gym.
Exactly.
And things that you can do at home or making movement part of your lifestyle. A buddy comes into town, an alumni from school, you want to get together. Well, rather than sitting and talking, go for a walk and talk. Same stuff, right? Make that part. Have a juice instead of 8 beers on there. It doesn't have to be all the time, but most of the time on that side. And then, I like that stretching that you emphasized. When I put gas in my truck, I always do 50 calf raises while I'm putting gas in.
There you go.
Because I'm just standing there. It's
There
just
you
a moment.
go.
Now, that's not going to get me an Olympic gold medal doing calf raises while I put gas, but it's something positive. And I believe all those micro moments aggregate, and
Absolutely.
that's where we do well in later chapters in life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Pete, we talk about in the third period, right? I want to be on the power play in the third period. I want to be, you know, still certainly on the first or second line, but maybe actually in between, I actually need to get my skates sharpened. And, you know, the little strategies, the little things you can do to help you play your best and not just waiting and not just letting things go. Take those little steps. I had a fellow that talked to me, what's the low-hanging fruit? What's the easiest thing to do? Well, you said, go for a walk, get outside. You know, now the benefits of being outside for the mental benefits, the whole experience. The physical therapist in me, still that brain sits. And I do worry about men more than women just neglecting the body as a whole and tending to wait too much to get to the gym or to be doing a program. It is finding those moments, finding that low-hanging fruit and those opportunities throughout your day, those many hours, to just do a little bit at a time. And I think as we're getting older and in this third period and we're taking shorter shifts, it's more important than ever to be just mindful of how we just live life.
Absolutely. And to get to that point of where we live life, if I may, and for the gentleman you asked, but let's say you're here and you either injure yourself, so you're sedentary, you have an injury, you're in pain, so now you're here, or something more serious and an illness, right? Most people, when they have a setback, will suddenly start to do some things in their favor to get back to here. Like that's pretty much a given. So not everyone does. They'll just hang out somewhere around here. But a lot of people will be all of a sudden starting to do more things. And I encourage you two things. One, if you have a setback, this is where you were, now this is where you are. And if that's the case now, I'll say this here, I won't block the camera, but you're going to start to do something. Use this. This is information. Use this, and this is a situation that you need to do a lot of healthy inputs and smart things, smart training to get here. Use this as a time to learn for the rest of your life. And as you do the things that get you back to where you were, just don't stop what's working, and you'll end up your best ever. Your best ever, right? So these setbacks, illness, disease, injury, etc., are the best opportunity for a male
Thanks, Pete.
to buy into doing these things, and then just don't stop. And you'll surpass where you started and create your best life chapter.
We obviously need to do a lot more programs, right, Pete? I mean, we can talk about so much helpful information. Boy, oh boy,
very synergistic. You set the lead. I'm just trying to keep up, and but we are like-minded in philosophy for sure.
You've said some things though today, honestly, that I know, and you've intrigued me even more. I still want to find out even more. Pete, can people find you? Is there a place for the general public, our audience? Can they find you, Pete?
Oh, you sure can. The easiest one today, although it's not my favorite platform for coming together, but it's Instagram, because it's easy. Coach Peter Twist.
Coach Peter Twist.
If you need help with something or information, you can even send me a DM. Coach Peter Twist Instagram.
Okay.
And on my Instagram feed, there's a link into Twist University. And we have new digital certifications, courses and programs that people love this now because they can tap into it from anywhere in the world on their schedule.
Right.
But the next cool thing coming up is on July 1st. So now the time would be people are registering, and we kick off together July 1st. The last time I did this, I had people from 22 countries, which is awesome because they're like-minded. They're like-motivated, they have the same needs, and it's compared to social media in the world, this is consistently a kind, positive, peaceful, respectful, uplifting experience for people.
For
It's
people
really
or
refreshing.
trainers or coaches?
For people.
For people.
For people. So I do have coaches and trainers and leaders come on, and they may have this experience. They have this experience for themselves, but they may be taking that and passing that on to someone else. But 60% of the people involved are not trainers, coaches, therapists, doctors. They're people from all walks of life, and they are a leader too. They're a leader of one. They lead themselves, and if they lead themselves, they can lead others, which is their family. And so they're in there for that. And this focus it does touch on high EQ and mental well-being and peacefulness, but it's a big mindset mastery.
Sorry, where do we find this again?
Okay, so if you think of, to describe this, if you think of people would relate to a sport training program for athletes or a fitness program they participate in. This is all mindset mastery. Mindset affects everything. But it's set up like a 12-week program.
Okay.
That's learned by doing. It's very...
What's it titled? What's it called?
It's called Mindset Mastery.
Mindset Mastery.
Just find me on Coach Peter Twist on Instagram. There's a link there, or DM me, and I just send you the information myself directly.
Do you?
This is a great chapter where I'm back. I had such big enterprises and corporations. I got so removed with staff and managers and VPs. I'm in the boardroom most of the time. I'm with people directly now. This is a really fulfilling, meaningful chapter. It's all this.
Okay.
So I'll connect directly with people, and that 12-week mindset program, they tap into me through the whole 12 weeks.
Okay.
And with the power of the pull of the group. So
now, Pete, I have to admit, I'm barely on Instagram. I just started actually because of Rocking the Ages. I'm trying. I think I've posted 3 times now. Is there anywhere else where people can connect with you? Can I link anything on we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And I'll link it on our web and our...
Directly to the Twist University portal. I'll provide you the link, and you can drop it on there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and make it seamless and easy. Yeah, and
we have barely scratched the surface, folks. We have barely scratched the surface of what this man brings to the table, the wealth of knowledge and what you can share, Pete. We're just scratching the surface. So definitely check into the links, look into these programs.
And if you're not on Instagram, I commend you. Don't change it. Stay off social media. We'll send you we'll get a direct link to you, and keep out in the real world, living life, and seize the day. Yeah.
Peter, I cannot thank you enough. Yeah. I'm so grateful. I cannot thank you enough for joining me today, everybody today, sharing your wisdom. And I just hope that this is one of many, many more episodes that we do, or we find more ways to share, because it's a lot.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very honored to share things with your audience. And you've been a long-time leader in fitness and health and physical therapy and athleticism, mindset, everything. But
this is the most important, though, of all.
You and your partner, Jay, you're both such great humans.
Thank you, Pete.
Just that part alone is aspirational and inspiring, and it's fun to be here.
Let's do it. Thank you, Pete. Thanks, everybody. What I loved most about this conversation isn't how naturally Peter and I kept coming back to hockey as a metaphor for life, because hockey does teach you that every period changes, every shift changes. You adjust, you adapt, you lose players, and you battle through injuries, momentum swings, and systems break down. And sometimes survival becomes the strategy. Peter's battle with stage 4 cancer wasn't just a tough season. It was like trying to kill off a penalty late in the 3rd period without a goalie. And yet what struck me most is that Peter doesn't speak like a victim or even a motivational speaker or even a man chasing inspiration. He speaks like a coach. He's calm, observant, practical, and honest. His wisdom isn't flashy, it's lived in. It's earned through experience, failure, success, loss, family, nature, rebuilding, and learning what actually matters when the noise disappears. This conversation isn't about perfection or even winning at aging. It's about learning how to keep playing intelligently when the game gets hard. And Peter Twist understands that at a very deep level. My head is bowed. Please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and then share this episode. This is Rocking the Ages, and I'm Cheryl Soleway.